is Edwin. I'm a nurse and naturopathic doctor. I have vendetta against diabetes. It killed my mother, and so I'm out for it. And the beautiful thing is that the device I have handles diabetes. I didn't say it cures it, but at least it acts as a very, very exciting adjuvant or adjunct to handling diabetes by using gentle frequencies to pulse through the body, and it has effects, positive effects on metabolic issues and diabetes type 2 specifically. The name is the Olylife Therapy 90 PEMF device. PEMF standing for Pulse Electromagnetic Field Technology. That's what it is. So this device, like I said, uses gentle electromagnetic waves pulsing through the body that has effects on biologic tissue and of course the signaling systems of the body. Diabetes as a condition, the main problem there is a signaling problem, and I will explain myself in the signaling problem part. We all know, or most people know who have diabetes or don't have diabetes, that insulin leaves the islets of Langerhans, the beta cells of the islets of Langerhans, inside the pancreas and goes, it's a chemical, a peptide, and it goes to all the cells, spreads to all the cells. And in these cells, we have something called the insulin receptors on the cell surfaces. Now, the cell surfaces, they have these doors. They're like elevator doors, and they open and close. Now, stay with me here. The elevator doors that you know are operated electrically, isn't it? Good. So, as this chemical comes in, it needs electricity to open the doors. So, as insulin comes in, keys in with the insulin receptors, what happens is that there is a chemical cascade that happens inside that now a particular chemical called GLUT4 goes, and then something happens and the doors open. That's the voltage gated ion channels. It opens, and then glucose is able to go through transduction, and then now move to the mitochondria of the cell. Then of course energy is produced and you don't feel that. So sugar or glucose is utilized properly. That's the normal thing. But in somebody with insulin resistance, what happens here is that the electrical system on the cell is not working efficiently because there isn't enough electricity to open those doors. And let me explain that part. You see, part of the effect of pulse electromagnetic field technology is that the bioelectricity is now upregulated, and on the surface of the cell membrane it actually holds voltage. So when there isn't enough voltage, what you see is that system doesn't work efficiently again, because the elevator doors, which is the voltage gated ion channels, don't have power to open, and so you have a condition called insulin resistance. Did you get that? I hope I wasn't too sciencey. If I was, please forgive. No, but in explaining this part, that is how PEMF works with it. And then you find out that once you apply PEMF through the Therapy 90 and the Therapy 90 Plus, by placing your feet on it, those gentle electromagnetic pulses that goes through all your trillions of cells, what now happens is that the electricity is now upregulated. Therefore, the machine acts as a voltage stabilizer to your cells, and you find that things begin to work efficiently, and insulin resistance is taken care of, sugar is taken off the blood, among other things, as you take your drugs and your supplements and other things and do your lifestyle modifications and dietary modifications, you find that your blood glucose begins to drop better, more efficiently, and you have a nicer time. I did an experiment with this thing where I first of all, although I'm not diabetic, but sometimes I have some spikes of sugar, all of us do. And you find that I found out that at a point I had a particular blood sugar. I went on the machine 2 hours later, it had dropped to a lower figure, right in the middle of the normal range for blood sugar. I took that. I did that 3 times. It happened. Then I began to test it out on friends. There was a particular one where it dropped the blood sugar from 144 mg per deciliter to 55. And I was like, wow, this is interesting. You understand? So that is the mechanism of action of how it works. It's quite effective, and you can if you purchase these particular devices and you have diabetes or metabolic issues or pre-diabetes, it will help in your diabetes management, and as you do other required things, your lifestyle modifications, your dietary modifications, your exercising, and of course taking your drugs, you find out that after some time of regularly using these things and doing, you just might be able to reverse insulin resistance in your body. For the diabetics out there, or people who are suffering from some form of insulin resistance on that kind of a thing, so when you this is how the device looks, and those of us watching the video of this, it will be displayed. Now, it comes in the form factor of a scale, like a giant scale, a big scale, where you place your feet on it. Your 2 feet are on the designated metallic plates. Those electromagnetic pulses will go through your body. Now you sit for each session. For the P90 plus, it's 20 minutes. For the P90, it is 30 minutes. And at different in level of intensity that your body can take. Everybody's body is very different. For a diabetic, it is good to use this and integrate it into your daily routine care. Use it in the morning and use it in the evening before going to bed. It will help cap the spikes in the morning, known as the dawn phenomenon. Our liver around 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock, between 5 and 8 o'clock in the morning, spews out glucose for us to be able to wake up. So glucose tends to be highest in the morning there from the liver. So now what happens is, if the night before you have a little small routine, you should be able to cap that spike in blood sugar and bring it under control, and this will greatly enhance that process, and you have a goal of a good blood sugar. Anywhere from 30 minutes first session to 3 months, because people's bodies are different, and then age too has a role. We have this rule in natural medicine where if you are 30 years of age, we expect you to use it for 30 days plus 30 days. That's 60 days for us to now say, yes, this thing is working for me. But a lot of patients, within 30 minutes, we already see the results. Once again, I'm going to say this is an adjunct. This is not your main treatment. What is so exciting for diabetics is the fact that as you are taking your drugs, it now enhances the action of your drugs. For example, you're using metformin. It gets to a point where metformin doesn't really have that much effect. It begins to wane in its effect. Now, when this comes in and you begin to use it with your metformin, you find out that you will not need as much metformin to have the same effect again. You get that part. So that's that. So it's an adjunct. I need to put that in because I am a responsible medical person. Now, for where to get the machine, you get it with us.